This is part one of several parts. This is something that happens when people use classes but don't have a complete understanding of classes. If we look at these two symbols, the object info palette tells us that's blue 1 and this is blue 2. Notice that the symbol is assigned to the class none, and it's on the layer. Where did my symbol go? This symbol is hybrid. These are both hybrids, 2D, 3D symbol. Where did my symbol go as a layer? Class is none. And it's called blue 1. So blue 2, blue 1. If we open up our object info palette from the keyboard, we see that there is one design layer and there's no viewports, no sheet layers, no stories, no references, couple saved views. And there's some classes. So let's turn off a class. Let's turn off the outside hybrid. Let's turn that one off. See what happens. Nothing happens. Let's go back to the classes. Notice that I was in the classes. I opened the organization palette using the keyboard shortcut. And I'm going to go and say, let's turn off the inside 3D. And nothing happens. Now let's go and turn off the inside 2D. We are now missing one symbol. So we are in the top plan view. I can easily go to our save view. Here, both top plan view. They're both back again. And if we go to both 3D, we see again that if I pick this symbol and I see it's blue 1, or I pick this symbol and I see it's blue 2, I'm opening the organization palette from the keyboard. I'm in the classes. Let's go to outside hybrid and turn that off. Okay, everything's the same. If we look at that, we should be able to tell whether it's used or not. Now there's an irony here in that it says use and none has no check mark. But if we go back here, we immediately see that both of these are being used by the none class, or they're assigned to the none class. So let's go back and look at another class. Let's say inside 3D. Let's click on that. Now we've lost this one. Now let's see if I can pick it. And here's a perfect example where you would say, where did my symbol go? I picked both of these by making a box around them. Notice the handles. They help you identify what you're looking at. I'm looking at two symbols. If I simply pick this one here, although you can't see it, it's now picked and it's blue 2. And now this is blue 1. Now what have we done? We have turned off a class. Did we mean to? This is where you can back yourself into a corner and wonder, where did my symbol go? Because I've turned off a class. Let's turn it back on again. We see that it's come back again. But let's go and turn a different one off inside 2D. Let's turn that one off. Now it's gone again. Now let's just make a window around everything. And I don't seem to be able to pick another symbol here. I can only pick this symbol. So why is that? Well, we're going to look inside of the symbol. If I turn this back on again, I can see both of them. If I go to the top plan view quickly, these are both assigned to none. But if I turn off the 2D inside, what happens here? I lose this one. Can I still select it? No, I cannot. I cannot select it. So let's go back to both of them. In the top plan, we see the handles. Notice that I have 3, 2, and 3. Those 8 handles, they coincide with the bounding box. So I'm going to look at these two. Let's go to the 3D view. I'm going to double click on it. Now you notice that it gives me the option to edit the 2D. So if I look, this 2D rectangle is assigned to the inside 2D class. So if we go to turn off that inside 2D class in the organization palette, we're going to lose our hybrid symbol. But I think there's a secondary complication here. Let's go back to the 3D. We're going to double click on this one here. We're going to edit the 2D. When we select this, it's assigned to none. When we double click and edit the 3D, now you notice that we have a 3D component. A symbol could have many 3D components. In this case, there's only one. It's an extrude, but double click on that extrude to edit. And you notice that there's also a rectangle. So there's a rectangle. Notice the handles. They coincide with this bounding box here. The same number of handles, essentially, plus the center. You see this ghosted image telling you that this rectangle is part of a 3D component. You can see up here, exit extrude means you're inside of an extrude. You're editing the extrude. And again, we see extrude class is none. Let's just back up again. We see that this rectangle is none. And then when we go to the symbol, we see that the symbol is none. So all those are in the none class. A very quick check, we can turn off the none class, and we see that it is gone. Now we also see that the other one's gone. So why is that? That's because they're both in the none class. In the case of this one, all of the pieces of the hybrid symbol, including the symbol, are in the none class. So let's look at this one. This is a hybrid symbol. It's assigned to the none class. If we double click on this to edit the 3D component, we're going to look at this 3D component. Again, there's a single item, a single extrude. Now notice it says inside 3D. So this component, this extrude that is part of this hybrid symbol, is in a different class. Now if we double click on this, here's this rectangle, and the rectangle itself is inside 2D class, so it's assigned to a different class yet. This is not meant to show that you should assign things this way. This is meant to show that if you don't watch where you're assigning classes, you will be saying to yourself, where did my symbol go? So let's get out of here. And again, we notice that that was inside 2D. Then the 3D component, the extrude, was inside 3D. It is assigned to yet a different class. And then the symbol itself is assigned to yet a third class. So in this case, none. So let's go back to the organization palette. If we turn off the inside 2D and we click on it, we cannot select the symbol. You're going to say to yourself, where did my symbol go? And in this case, you turned off the inside 2D, which was the fundamental component of the extrude inside of the symbol. Now if we go up to the top plan view and we do the same thing, so you see they're both selected, but we turn off, let's say, none, what's going to happen? Both of them are going to disappear. Why is that? That's because they both are in the none class. Now if we look at this one in the none class, this one in the none class, we know that this one had some of the fundamental components. For example, the 3D was assigned inside 3D, so we're going to turn that off. Now wait a minute, now how come I see both of them? Well, that's because you're looking at the 2D component. And the 2D component, which is part of this symbol, has a different class where it is assigned. So let's look back at that. We turned off the inside 3D, but we left on the inside 2D. Now let's reverse that. So right now, we don't see this because we've turned off the inside 2D. So let's go to the top view, and we should be able to turn on and see the 3D. So we see the 3D here now. This is the entire symbol, so is this. They're not rendered, so they look different. A quick rendering, OpenGL, shaded, depending on the version you're running, will show you what's going on. And in the case of turning off the inside 3D, we should be able to select them both, but not see them in 3D. So let's back up to that again. In the classes, we see that inside 2D, that was our fundamental rectangle that made the extrude inside the hybrid symbol. And it was also the 2D component of the hybrid. So while the inside 3D is turned off, and we're in a top view, we don't see it. We can select it, but we can't see it. So if we go to top plan, we now see both of them. So let's do a quick recap. If we have a component inside of our hybrid symbol that is assigned to a different class, we can turn it off accidentally. And then we'll be asking, where did my symbol go? So again, if we look at this inside 2D, if we turn that off, we lose the ability to see this symbol. That's because the symbol is composed of several pieces. One is the top plan view, screen plane, or now commonly called top layer component. And then the other one is the 3D component inside this symbol. The 3D component is part of the symbol. It is an extrude. It's made with the inside 3D, but double clicking on it, we see that it is assigned inside 2D. Now let's just change that to none. And what happens now? You notice that it changed. It's no longer colored the same way. But if we want, we could change this to none, for example, and then change it back to inside 3D. It should ask us if we want to change it to the colors, but it did it automatically for us. I'm going to double click, And the rectangle inside has also taken on this inside 3D. Now we could change it to none, then we could get out of here and we could use the attributes palette and we could change colors just like we want. So now it looks the same, except what we're going to do is find out that the extrude is assigned to this class inside 3D, but not the two-dimensional rectangle inside. So what does that give us? That gives us the ability to see something in top plan, and both of them are selected. And if we turn off that inside 3D, we still see both of them. But if we go to a 3D view, we should be able to turn off the inside 3D and it will go away. But you'll be asking yourself, where did my symbol go? So let's do a recap. The classes are the traditional way to have things on or off inside of VectorWorks. In this case, we're drawing on a single design layer. That's very common workflow. And the classes are what distinguish things being on or off. In this case, we have symbols that look the same. But if we turn off that class that we know is assigned to 3D geometry inside this symbol, we can pick the symbol. And the symbol itself is assigned to none. Both of these are assigned to none, but because the internal portion of this symbol is assigned to a class that we have off, you can see the visibility over here, you will not see the symbol. So what's the takeaway? One of the tricks that I think is important is to create your symbols in a singular manner. If I created this extrude in a different class, or if I created this fundamental shape. And what I mean by fundamental is you start with a screen plane, two-dimensional, top plan component piece of geometry. Then you extrude it, and you end up with this larger shape. You can see it ghosted. It says exit extrude. Then you make this extrude plus some 2D geometry into a symbol. You can see exit symbol, and then both of these are up there. And one workflow is to have everything created, for example, in a class like none. It could also be a class like symbol, a class like 0, any number of things, but it's a class you never turn off. That way, when you get down to this fundamental component, you don't all of a sudden realize that you made it in a different class, and it becomes a ghosting item, an item that disappears, and you say, where did my symbol go? Putting the symbol itself then, for example, if we turn these both into similar symbols, that says none, exit the extrude, we want this to say none, and then we say exit, and then we click on this and we say none. So now we could actually assign these to different classes. One could be inside, and one could be outside. So we're going to see two symbols that look the same. If we pick them, it says it's two symbols. You notice they're assigned to different classes, so now we don't see which classes they are. But we can pick one, and it's outside, one is inside. So now, this gives us some control. We open our organization palette after looking at which symbol is in which class in the object info palette, and we can turn off inside 2D, for example, and we know that one goes away. And then if we reverse it, and we say turn inside on and outside off, then the opposite one goes away. Now you notice I've been going to the save view. The save view basically was created when I had all the classes on the organization palette. So that lets me go back to square one. And that's an easy way to find your symbol. When you say, where did my symbol go? You can go here and say save a view. I'm in a view I want, but then what you do is you come here and you turn all your classes on. And you say, okay, and you could call this all classes. And you can turn off all these things here. And this will make it so that wherever you are, you can go back to all your classes. Let's give a quick demo on that. Let's pick these two guys. We're going to rotate them to a different view, and we're going to turn off one of the classes. The outside hybrid, let's say, we've lost one. We're in a different view, but if I go to this save view up here and say all classes, notice my view did not change, but it turned all my classes on. Again, in the organization palette, we see that they're all on. So having a save view that turns on all your classes is a good way to do it. You could have, as you can see here, here's both in the top plan, and then you could also have both in 3D. These happen to have all the classes turned on, but if you get lost and you're sitting there going, where did my symbol go? Turn all your classes on. All turned on. And then you should be able to see everything. Another quick way to do it is to say select all, Command 6, and there it zooms into whatever is selected. Now if you don't say Command A for select all from the keyboard, you could just say Command 6, and Command 6 should zoom to the extents. I hope this helps with your workflow. Remember, in VectorWorks, there are many ways to draw things. That's how I drew it. Thanks for watching.